Okay, so we just saw Apple's spring-loaded event, which was loaded with a bunch of cool things that I want to talk about in this video. That was a stupid pun. Anyway, so first off, I want to talk about some general things that Apple said that aren't that important, but I mean, if you want to know, here is the recap for that. By the way, at the time of the filming this, it is currently 8:30 at night here in South Africa, so getting this content out. So the first thing they updated was Apple Card with Apple Card Family. So there are a few things for spouses that can merge like accounts or credit, and also for children, you can now be 13 years old and up in order to have an Apple Card. So all this is Apple's new Apple Card Family thing that they're doing. So that's the first thing that they really talked about in the event. Next up was the redesign of the podcast app and just some other things about podcasts that they're really pushing. So they also said that they will now be making podcast subscriptions available, which I'm not sure everything that goes in there, but they mentioned ad-free viewing, early access. I'm guessing this is going to be based on the creators of the podcast, whether they're going to offer this or not. I'm not quite sure how this is going to work, but they did mention updates to podcasts as well as subscriptions. So we'll see how that works. I'm not sure how good this will be, because people usually like podcasts because they are free, but we'll see how this works. But podcasts have an update. Another thing that they brought out, which I really wasn't expecting, was a new color for the iPhone 12s. So it's a beautiful purple color, pastel purple color for spring, I guess. So I really wasn't expecting this, but it is a really beautiful color. So I'm really happy that they did this, but I wasn't expecting it at all. The next thing, I knew people were thinking that it might come out, but there were no rock solid rumors for this, was the Apple TV 4K. So this has a bunch of enhancements for HDR and 4K, as well as AirPlay updates, which just makes for better AirPlay, especially for HDR. They also mentioned this thing about color balance, where it does something with your iPhone, so it color matches kind of what's on your phone to what you see on your TV. I'm not quite sure how it works, but they also showed that, as well as a new remote, and the remote I think looks pretty cool. They also have this new circular thing on the arrows. I don't know, that makes you scrub through timelines and things like that, so that looked really cool. So we do have a new remote as well, which is also this more square design that Apple is following now with all their devices. So I think it's a very necessary update, especially to the remote, so I'm really happy about that as well. So the prices for this Apple TV was released as well. So the 32GB version will be $179, and the 64GB version will be $199. Pre-orders start on April 30th, and we're expected to see this in the second half of May. Okay, we've been waiting for this for so long, for years. We have been holding our breath for this product, and that is Airtags that are finally available. So Airtags are finally here. They look amazing. They're pretty much exactly the design that we thought they were gonna be. So yeah, Airtags are finally here. I loved the video that they made for Airtags, introducing it in the couch thing. I just thought it was pretty cool. So they focused a lot on the newer iPhones with the U1 chips for the Airtags, because apparently they're gonna have helpful overlays to help find Airtags, which they call precision finding. They're gonna be using visual, haptic, and audible feedback in order to help you actually locate the Airtags, and it's all gonna be from your Find My app. So I'm really excited to see how these works, but they're pretty expensive. For the prices, one costs $29 and a 4-pack costs $99. So, I mean, they're gonna be pretty cool, but still. But this thing will be available to order on Friday, and then you will also have it available on April 30th. Now, one of my favorite announcements that they gave is the iMac. So we got some beautiful colors, we got some exciting news. So first off, it does have the M1 chip. I know people were speculating whether it's going to have a newer chip or the M1. So it does have the M1 chip, and it also comes in an array of 7 beautiful colors. So when you look at the device, you'll see it has more of a neutral front, so the color is more muted, and at the back it has a very saturated back for the color that's at the front. So It really is like an eye-catching design. As for the overall design and display, it has a 24-inch display. It is 50% thinner, which means it's 11.5 millimeters thin, which is insane. It looks pretty good. And it also has a 4.5K display. So it's pretty good for what you're getting, especially the price range. You do get the bezel as well, which I know a lot of people were wondering if we're gonna get the chin or not, which we do, but I don't think it looks bad. They did a pretty good job with letting it still look modern with the chin, so I'm not really mad about it. I'm pretty sure the newer models will have like a smaller bezels like with the Pro XDR display. They also focused a lot on improving some other things, such as the camera, which now finally has the 1080p camera, which is great, finally. They also focused this event a lot with the products around how you use your devices at home, with like everything being kind of on like video call and everything. So they really focus a lot on that in this event as well, which is really nice. So they said the camera will be great in low light. As for the mics and everything, they said they have studio quality mics, and some of the software helps so that it reduces background noise, so you'll be able to sound really crisp when talking on the video calls or whatever, and just better speakers overall as well. So they really focused on audio as well to get like the best result. As for some performance, they said it will have 85% faster GPU performance. So those are some impressive numbers, but we know with the M1 chips you can pretty much expect great performance. So before I get into the rest of the iMacs, you might want to know, so the price range is you're going to get a model for $1299 and you're going to get a model for $1499. So for the ports on the iMac, you get 4 ports on the $1499 version, which are 2 USB-C and 2 Thunderbolt. And the Thunderbolt is going to be compatible with 6K displays like the Pro XDR display. But on the $1299 version, you're only going to get 2 Thunderbolt ports and not the 4 ports that they were mentioning in the keynote. So only 2 ports for the $1299 version, which are both Thunderbolt. Also, a cool thing that they mentioned is a magnetic power connector. So it looks pretty cool, and also has a 2-meter woven cable for the power cable. As well as on the little adapter, you'll see an Ethernet port, but again, the Ethernet port is only available for the $1499 version iMac. And they say this is all to get like a less cluttered desktop experience with these cables and the Ethernet port being down there. So that's the main goal for this. And also the keyboard, mouse, and trackpad also color match with whatever iMac you have. There's also now Touch ID on the keyboard, but only on the $1499 models have Touch ID now. So that's really cool. So yeah, Touch ID is now on this. And I'm pretty sure if it doesn't have Touch ID, it just has like a lock button. So if it doesn't have Touch ID, it has the lock button, which is also, I guess, cool. But yeah, it's quite an interesting difference with ports and things and what they include and not with the price difference. I'm pretty sure most people are going to go for the higher end model. And I know people aren't going to be happy with a lack of a SD card slot. Now for my all-time favorite. I don't know if you guys know this, but I love the iPad. It's one of my favorite Apple products of all time. I know I've said this about every single device here, but the iPad really has a very special place in my heart. So we got new iPads, and the iPad has a M1 chip. Tim Cook literally Mission Impossible his way for the M1 chip to be in the iPad Pros. So we have now M1 chip in iPad Pros, which is really exciting, and I'm very happy to see like how this is gonna work with integrating more apps, and hopefully sometime in the future, in somewhere in the universe, we're gonna get Final Cut Pro on iPad maybe one day. I'm really hoping for that. For some of the performance improvements for the iPad Pro, we have a 50% faster CPU and a 40% faster graphics. We also now get up to 2 terabytes of storage, which is really nice as well. So if you use your iPad as your main computer, you now can have more storage. The USB-C ports on the iPad Pros are also now Thunderbolt. So you have 4 times more bandwidth for transferring files, and it helps with connecting like with the Pro XDR display. And it also has 5G, which I'm not going to go into, but the iPad now has 5G as well. As for cameras on the iPad Pro, I'm not going to talk much about like the back camera, because it's just, I don't use the camera on my iPad ever. But the front-facing camera did change a lot, which you probably use a lot for video calls and things like that. I'm really happy to see what they did with it. So the true depth camera at the front, the selfie camera, they added a ultra wide camera, which has 120 degrees field of view with 12 megapixels. And they're calling a feature that they're integrating with this ultra wide center stage. So it basically follows you around, making sure you stay in the middle of the frame. I don't know if this is something you can turn off and on, because it could be annoying if you're like going off screen and doing something and it just follows you. But it's really interesting. I never thought about them doing this, but it's so cool to see. So they got a new ultra wide, which I think will be pretty cool. So they also focus a lot on the 12.9 inch, specifically with the display of the 12.9 inch iPad Pro. So they're calling the display of the 12.9 inch iPad Pro the Liquid Retina XDR display. So it's basically like a mini version of the Pro XDR display, which is insane. And it uses the new mini LED technology. So there are over 10,000 mini LEDs on the display, which is a huge improvement from the previous models of iPads. So I'm really excited to see how this looks with the 12.9 inch, because it's only on the 12.9 inch, which was very smart of them, I think. And I'm really shocked at the price of these, because it's not that big of a difference. So the 11 inch is still the same price as the previous models. So it's still $799 for the base model. And the 12 inch, I was thinking it's gonna be super expensive, but it's $1,099, which is only $100 more than previous years, which I like I said, with the display, I was thinking it's gonna be super expensive and just like over the top, but it's really an impressive price range for what you're getting and all the improvements in display that you're getting with the 12.9 inch. So I'm really happy that they didn't increase the price that much, but also really surprised. The pre-order dates for the iMacs and the iPads are on April 30th, and they're also expected to be available in the second half of May. So that's my recap for Apple's spring-loaded event. We got a lot of things here. I had to get a lot of things out here. I really hope this video isn't too long, but I really hope you guys found this interesting. I'm trying to get as much content for you guys out right now, so I really hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up and comment down below any other questions you might have for me. Definitely subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!